Good morning and welcome everyone to Temple Buddhist Center Sunday Meditation Service. My name is Victor and I'm honored to be of service this morning. We hope that our gathering today finds each and every one of you happy and healthy, but please know that if you are struggling in any way, we hope the Temple Buddhist Center and our Sangha can be a source of strength for you, a source of refuge as we open our hearts to you and to your loved ones. Let's begin this morning with a few conscious breaths. Some conscious breath work is where you seal the mouth, breathe deeply through the nose, hold that breath for a few moments, and then release slowly so that the exhale is longer than the inhale. Let's begin. Holding that breath for a moment, feeling the fullness of the lungs, and releasing slowly. And as you release, checking in with the body, noticing any points of tension, contraction, anything that is not easy or gentle, and just breathing through that. If you need to stretch or roll the neck a little bit, whatever is necessary to partner with the body to find a new and deeper level of gentleness. And a second conscious breath together. And releasing. And as you release this second time, giving yourself full and complete permission to unplug. Unplug from that energy of going and doing, striving, efforting, checking things off the to-do lists. As together in sacred Sangha, we cultivate the energy of just being. Cultivating that energy that requires nothing of us and is a constant source of essence and vitality. And a third conscious breath together. Holding. And releasing slowly. And as you release on this third breath, we invite into our awareness the present moment. The present moment might seem like a small increment of time, but it actually has no beginning and no ending. And we are always arriving in the here and the now. And so here at Temple Buddhist Center, we like to begin our services with a little bit of chanting. Chanting is an integral part of every tradition. Chanting is not about being a singer. Chanting is about having a voice. It is about a deeply devotional expression of what is sacred within you and sharing that with the entire world. Our chant today is Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upekkha. And this chant from the Sanskrit, from the Pali tradition, which Pali was the language of the Buddha. So from Pali and Sanskrit, we get Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upekkha. These are known as the Brahma Viharas, the four heavenly abodes or divine abodes. They're also known as the four faces of the heart. And Metta is loving kindness. Karuna is compassion, Mudita is joy or sympathetic joy, and Upekkha is equanimity. Equanimity is that steadfastness through all experiences, like the lighthouse that shines brightly in fair weather or foul weather. And so we'll take a conscious breath together. And let's begin. Metta Karuna Mudita Upekkha Metta karuna mudita upeka. 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 With a smile. Metta karuna mudita upeka. Metta karuna mudita upeka. Once more. Metta karuna mudita upeka. Here at Temple Buddhist Center, we practice Western Buddhism. Western Buddhism is a blend of Eastern philosophy and Western psychology. And this new and exciting form of spirituality is dynamic, it's growing, and it's changing. It's learning with us as we find out more through science and experience about this human experience. It is inclusive, it is active, and it focuses on core Buddhist insights, as well as mindfulness, meditation, and their practical applications in our daily lives. Our goal here is not to get everyone to agree on a specific lineage or philosophy or sect of Buddhism, but rather it is on a shared experience of mindfulness, oneness, and love. Whether we are chanting together, spending time in noble silence, or sharing from the heart, we respect that you will participate at a level that is comfortable for you. We take refuge in the three jewels and acknowledge these core values as expressions of the awakened mind, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. We value awareness of our Buddha nature, as well as the Buddha nature of all beings, bringing a fresh and a new perspective to each and every encounter. The second jewel, the Dharma, the truth teachings that release us from fear and delusion and help us to realize the true nature of who we are. And finally, Sangha, our spiritual community, an essential part of growth where we come together to help each other along every step of the path. So let's take a moment now to silence any cell phones or electronic devices. And if you're at home, anything that you need to do to prepare your atmosphere or your environment for a time in meditation and contemplation. And also, we do want to welcome all of our friends and Sangha members joining us from all around the world. Also, there are cushions up front. We have lots of open ones for those of you that might want to sit zazen or cross-legged on a cushion. There are also throat lozenges or cough drops. At the altar at the back of the meditation hall, there is a listening device as well as some tissues. So please, by all means, whatever you need to do to make yourself more comfortable. And so we will begin our contemplation time with the prayer of refuge, which we will recite 3 times for the 3 jewels. Together, in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, We go for refuge until fully awakened. Through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened. Through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we go for refuge until fully awakened. Through the power of generosity, ethics, patience, enthusiastic effort, concentration, and wisdom. For the sake of all beings, may we realize and demonstrate our innate goodness. And so as we prepare now for a time in meditation, if you have an extensive practice, then we invite you to practice in a way that is fitting for you this morning. If perhaps you are newer to meditation, then we're going to begin with the dedication of intention. We will awaken the bell 3 times for the 3 jewels, and then our guest speaker today, Mr. Dave Owens, will lead us in a guided meditation that's designed to assist you in moving into the stillness. We will spend approximately 10 to 12 minutes this morning connecting with each other, with our Sangha near and far, known and unknown, connecting with each other in consciousness. Afterwards, Dave will gently and lovingly bring us out of meditation. We will sound the return bell, and then it will be time for today's Dharma talk, or teaching. And so with that, let's take another conscious breath together, breathing in deeply through the nose, and releasing. Body, speech, and mind in perfect oneness. I send my heart along with the sound of the bell. May the hearers awaken from forgetfulness, transcend the path of anxiety and sorrow, and realize the true nature of who they are.
Find a comfortable way to sit, and you may want to adjust your posture so that your spine is erect without being rigid or stiff. Just allow the rest of your body to be relaxed around the upright spine. Rest your hands in your lap or on your legs, and allow your eyes to gently close, bringing full attention to the physical sensations of sitting still. Allow your breathing to be natural, bringing attention to your head. Release any tension in the face, soften the eyes, relax the jaw. Scanning the body slowly downward, relax the neck and shoulders, feeling the rise and fall of the chest and abdomen with the breath. Soften the belly with each exhalation. Bringing your attention all the way down through the body to the places of contact with the chair or cushion beneath you. Just allow yourself to be supported, feeling the pressure and density of the relaxed upright body sitting. As you bring your full attention to the present time experience, just acknowledge the full range of phenomena that are happening in the moment. Thinking is happening, hearing is happening, seeing, even with the eyes closed, tasting, smelling, and physical and emotional sensations are all present. Allowing all these experiences to be as they are, redirect your attention to the sensations of the breath. Let the other sense experiences fall to the background as you bring the awareness of breathing to the foreground. Take a moment to investigate where you feel the breath most easily and use that as a point of focus. Breathing in, know that you're breathing in. Breathing out, know that you're breathing out. Each time your attention wanders back to the thinking aspect of the mind, gently redirect it back to the breath. It's important to understand that this will happen over and over, and it doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong or that you can't meditate. It just means that you, like all people, are so used to thinking about things rather than feeling them that the attention is naturally drawn back into thinking again and again. Just bring the attention back to the simple experience of the breath over and over. And make sure you bring a quality of friendliness and kindness to this practice. Of course, we quickly realize that the attention doesn't want to stay with the breath. The attention is drawn back into thinking over and over. This practice is just the practice of training the attention to return to the breath. Try to be friendly toward your experience. Of course, the attention wanders. Try not to take it personally. It's not your fault. That's just what the untrained mind does. And it will take time and perseverance to train the attention to stay with the chosen object of awareness. It's necessary to be patient and kind to yourself during the process. Easier said than done, I know. But when you get caught judging yourself, being too critical, or doubting the process, attempt to bring friendliness to your relationship to the thoughts. And then simply redirect the attention back to the breath. Good morning. So the title of my talk today is E-I, Om. And no, we're not going to be talking about old McBuddha's farm. It's just that the four main topics that I'll be talking about today, two of them start with E and two of them start with I. So we've got, the I's are going to be impermanence and interconnectedness, and the E's are emptiness and an elephant. So we'll start in the most logical place, which is the elephant. This is a poem by John Godfrey. It was 6 men of Indostan, to learning much inclined, who went to see the elephant, though all of them were blind, that each by observation might satisfy his mind. The first approached the elephant, and happening to fall against his broad and sturdy side, at once began to bawl, "God bless me, but this elephant is very like a wall." The second, feeling of the tusk, cried, "Ho, what have we here? So very round and smooth and sharp, to me 'tis mighty clear. This wonder of an elephant is very like a spear." The third approached the animal, and happening to take the squirming trunk within his hands, thus up and boldly spake, "I see," quoth he, "the elephant is very like a snake." The fourth reached out his eager hand and felt about the knee. "What most this wondrous beast is like is mighty plain," quoth he. "'Tis clear enough the elephant is very like a tree." The fifth, who chanced to touch the ear, said, "Even the blindest man can tell what this resembles most, deny the fact who can. This marvel of an elephant is very like a fan." The sixth no sooner had begun about the beast to grope, than seizing on the swinging tail that fell within his scope, "I see," quoth he, "the elephant is very like a rope." And so these men of Indostan disputed loud and long, each in his own opinion, exceeding stiff and strong, though each was partly in the right, and all were in the wrong. When the Buddha taught about beginner's mind, or the idea of exploring the world with the curiosity of a child, one of the things that he was warning us about was letting our preconceptions and prior experiences influence the way we approach new things. See, in some ways, the blind men in the poem had the advantage of having never seen an elephant. If you've never seen an elephant, then your first encounter with one should be a blank slate. But the immediate inclination is to compare it to what is familiar. The beginner's mind is about freeing yourself from judgments, rather than forgetting what you already know. Familiarity is not a bad thing, and using your previous knowledge of things is also not bad. It's when you let those preconceived notions influence the way you experience new things that it becomes a problem. Obviously, you shouldn't just disregard everything you already know. If you know that you have a shellfish allergy because you had a severe reaction to eating shrimp, you shouldn't just ignore that and say, well, I've never had lobster before, I think I'll try it. We all take things from our previous experiences with us into every new experience. That's human nature. And in some cases, it's part of a built-in system to keep us safe. For example, if you'd been attacked by a dog in the past, there's a good chance that encountering a dog is going to trigger an automatic response of fear and anxiety. So your brain recognizes dogs as a threat based on previous experience. It's your brain's way of trying to alert you to danger based on things that have happened before. And even if every dog you encounter for the rest of your life is friendly, that previous trauma is going to be there to alert you to the possibility of danger. Have you ever had food poisoning? Even if it was just one time, your brain will try to warn you to stay away from whatever type of food caused it. To this day, I have a hard time with egg salad sandwiches. And I really like egg salad sandwiches. Another example could be something like a new movie or a book. Let's say you have an author that you really like, and they release a new book. And when you read that book, do you judge it based on its own merits, or do you compare it to that author's other work? The book might be perfectly fine on its own, but maybe it's not as good as some of their other work. If you approach it with beginner's mind, then the book is fine. And if not, you're going to be disappointed because it didn't live up to your expectations. See, I remember when the first Lord of the Rings movie came out, I was so excited about it. I had read all those books when I was a kid. Couldn't wait to see them on the big screen. But when I saw the first movie, I was disappointed. I was expecting a perfect adaptation of the book. And that would not be easy to do, especially not in a short 2 to 3 hour time window. I mean, of course, it had to be edited to work as a movie. But my friend that went to see it with me thought it was great. See, she had never read the books, so for her it was just a movie. She was approaching it with beginner's mind. Many of us are familiar with the parable of the scholar who went to see the Zen master and asked to be taught. As the master began the lesson, the scholar would continually interrupt with his own ideas and thoughts and say things like, yes, I already know that. So the Zen master calmly suggested that they pause from the lesson and have a cup of tea. As they sat, the master poured a cup of tea for the young scholar and placed it in front of him. And then he poured a cup for himself. Then he began pouring from his own cup into the cup in front of the scholar. And as the cup overflowed and ran all over the table, the young scholar said, "Wait, what are you doing? Stop pouring, my cup is already full." And the master just smiled and said, "Yes, you are like this cup. You're so full of ideas that nothing more will fit. Come back when your cup is empty." Now, emptiness is a concept that a lot of people misunderstand when it comes to Buddhist practice. Many of us think of emptiness as meaning nothingness, and that's close, but it's more of a no-thingness. The 3rd century Indian Buddhist master Nagarjuna taught, emptiness, wrongly grasped, is like picking up a poisonous snake by the wrong end. So what is emptiness? Well, author and physicist Richard Morris said, "In modern physics, there is no such thing as nothing. Even in a perfect vacuum, pairs of virtual particles are constantly being created and destroyed. The existence of these particles is no mathematical fiction. though they cannot be directly observed, the effects they create are quite real. The assumption that they exist leads to predictions that have been confirmed by experiment to a high degree of accuracy. So according to Merriam-Webster, a vacuum is a space absolutely devoid of matter, or a state of total isolation from outside influences. According to modern science, neither of those things can exist. Mary Wiseman said, "People don't exist in a vacuum. They're a result of who raised them and who they love and who frustrates them." And when I say that nothing exists in a vacuum, what I mean is nothing exists independent of everything else. All things have no intrinsic existence of their own. There's an interconnectedness, an interdependence with all things. Thich Nhat Hanh called that interbeing. For example, if we look at a cake, we see a cake. We don't think much of it other than, I want to eat that. Or maybe we think about what kind of cake it is. Is it chocolate? Is it carrot cake? Is it spice cake? Is that buttercream frosting? Cream cheese frosting? Great, now I want cake. But that cake didn't just come into being on its own. It's made from flour, sugar, eggs, milk, butter, heat, the oven, the baker. And those things aren't made up of their own components either, because those components don't exist on their own. The flour is made from wheat. That wheat was grown from the soil, the sun, the water, the farmer who planted it. And each of those has an interdependent component of their own. The soil was made up of organic material that decayed to form it. That organic material previously lived as its own set of interconnected circumstances. The water that went into that crop was the result of a cloud that rained in a place where the water could get to that particular plant. The farmer who grew the wheat was a result of their parents meeting via whatever circumstances allowed that to happen. And the farmer's parents were a result of their parents meeting, and so on. If you have young children, a fun exercise you can do with them is to take an object, let's say a toy or a stuffed animal, and you can use that to teach them how they are connected to everyone and everything in the world. I'll use this pillow as an example. So this pillow, according to the tag, says it was made in Barnet, Vermont. So let's examine, how did it get here? Well, it probably came from a store or maybe an online shop, which means that somebody had to buy it. And after they bought it, somebody had to bring it here and deliver it. Before it could be delivered, it had to be made. So somebody in Vermont stitched this together. And they used thread that they got from somewhere. They used material that they got from somewhere. A sewing machine that came from somewhere. And all of those things, you could trace those back. You know, you could go on and on until you find out how connected everything really is, just from this one simple pillow. So all things have no existence of their own and are empty of a permanent self. Because of that interdependence and the reliance on causes and conditions to be just so in order for things to come into being, that brings us to impermanence. Understanding impermanence is the key to alleviating the suffering caused by attachment. When we cling to impermanent things, we suffer. Now, most of us understand that on a rational level, but it becomes a whole lot more difficult to try to put it into practice when it comes to something like the painful loss of a loved one or the end of a relationship. You see, we want things to last. We don't like change. Change means the unknown, and the unknown brings fear. When we truly understand impermanence, the less we cling to expectations based on our preconceptions. And we realize that since all things are constantly changing and all things are interconnected, that to resist change and cling to impermanent things is to argue with reality. Newsflash, reality always wins. The Buddha taught that we shouldn't see ourselves as permanent beings. We should see ourselves as momentary sequences of continually changing phenomena. If you think of who you are today, and you think of who you were in elementary school, in middle school, and high school, you'll see that who you are right now is very different from who you were then. You're still you, but the you that exists right now is very different from you 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, or 20 years ago. We're always changing, adapting, learning. Even as we sit here, we're changing. The food you ate for breakfast is being digested and broken down and turned into fuel for your body. Your brain is creating new neural pathways as it processes what I'm saying. The cells in our bodies are dying, regenerating, and undergoing changes. So what is the benefit of understanding emptiness, impermanence, and interdependence? As Stephen Batchelor said in his book, Buddhism Without Beliefs, as we become aware of all of this, we can begin to assume greater responsibility for the course of our lives. Instead of clinging to habitual behavior and routines as a means to secure a sense of self, we realize the freedom to create who we are. Instead of being bewitched by impressions, we start to create them. Instead of taking ourselves so seriously, we discover the playful irony of a story that has never been told in quite this way before. As someone once told me, in the grand cosmic scheme of things, the universe doesn't really care about you. Stop taking yourself so seriously. That may sound a little harsh, but it's actually quite liberating. When we realize that we are all interconnected, impermanent beings, we can adapt, change, and grow into whatever we want to become. We aren't stuck with a specific label or identity just because that's how we were once labeled or identified. No other creature in the history of existence has lived or will live a life identical to yours. I want to share with you Autobiography in 5 Chapters by Portia Nelson. Chapter 1, I walk down the street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I am lost. I'm hopeless. It isn't my fault. It takes forever to find a way out. Chapter 2, I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place, but it isn't my fault. It still takes a long time to get out. Chapter 3. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it's there. I still fall in. It's a habit. My eyes are open. I know where I am. It is my fault. I get out immediately. Chapter 4. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. Chapter 5, I walk down another street. As we go through life, we gain insight from every experience we have. It's not about just trying to have good experiences or avoid having bad experiences. It's about the experience of experiencing. Enjoy the journey, because the journey is the goal. Thank you for sharing your practice with me, and may we all be open to the experience of walking down a new street.
Thank you so much, Dave. Let's take a moment and just embody the teachings, moving from our head to our heart. Sensing the truth, experiencing and embodying the truth. And as we move now or transition from our Dharma talk to a heart practice, it's not uncommon for people to shift their posture or adjust themselves or take a conscious breath, whatever you need to do as we move into the heart practice. Today, our heart practice is a gratitude practice. And as we do this, it's not uncommon for some people like to provide an outward or external gesture as we do a heart practice. Sometimes they like to form the Anjali Mudra, or the prayer hands of focusing of the heart energy. Sometimes you might just want to place a hand on your heart or both hands. And sometimes if you like to just sit with your hands on your lap, we invite you to flip them upside down so that your palms are facing upward in sort of an expressive and an open posture. And with that, let's begin with a conscious breath. And as you release, you may want to close your eyes. And we will begin the gratitude practice by simply feeling how year after year you have cared for your own body, cared for your own mind. Now let yourself begin to acknowledge all that has supported you in this care. I hold in my heart gratitude for the care and labor of 1,000 generations of ancestors who have come before me. I hold in my heart gratitude for the creatures of the sky, the earth, the water, whose joyful exertion blesses every day. I hold in my heart gratitude for the family and friends that I have been given and the community that I share. I hold in my heart gratitude for the blessings of this earth that I have been given. I hold in my heart gratitude for the measure of health that I have at this moment. I hold in my heart the teachings and lessons that I have been given, and I feel gratitude for my teachers, both formal, informal, known and unknown. And just as we are grateful for our blessings, so too we can be grateful for the blessings of others. Taking a few moments now to let your heart fill with warmth, love, and light. The feeling of this gratitude, allowing it to expand and fill your whole body, down into the belly, the hips, the legs, up through the shoulders, the neck, the head, down to the arms. Your whole body intensifying with this light, this love, this warmth of gratitude, until you become a light, a beacon, influencing everyone that you meet today. And with that, let's take a conscious breath together. And as you release, become present in the here and the now, in this time and in this place. And in the true spirit of Dana, the Buddhist practice of generosity, Temple Buddhist Center services here are given freely. In the same way, if you choose to give, please give with a generous heart, which means not in return for anything that you have received today, but rather so that those who may be seeking refuge may find it here in this temple with these teachings and with these teachers. And we also take a moment of gratitude for all of our wonderful ambassadors, those folks who have committed themselves to regular monthly electronic giving. It's not about the amount, it's just that the regular monthly giving helps us to set a budget here at Temple Buddhist Center. If you'd like to give or become an ambassador, there are Dana boxes located at the back of the meditation hall. There's a little QR code in front of the seat there in front of you. You can just point your phone at it and find that. We also have tremendous gratitude for all of our volunteers, so many people who work each and every day to bring opportunities for our Sangha to come together, to deepen our practice, to deepen our knowledge of the Dharma, to share with each other. Tremendous gratitude to Christine for your beautiful music. Thank you, Christine. Gratitude to Dave for your wonderful talk and all that you do to help not only Temple Buddhist Center, but me as he gathers with me each morning and helps me set up the service. I am so appreciative to everything that Dave offers. And also, thank you so much to Eric and everybody joining us from all around the world. And especially thank you to each and every one of you for sharing your heart and your presence and your practice with all of us here at Temple Buddhist Center. We certainly are the better for it. And so as we prepare to end our time together, then I'm going to put up the Bodhicitta dedication, and we will recite that one time to close our time together. And then I have a few announcements for us. And together, may the pure, brilliant sun of Bodhicitta dawn in each and every heart and mind, dispelling the darkness of suffering and confusion unstoppably until all are illumined and awakened. And with the palms of our hands together in front of our hearts, as we go forth now from this place, may we enter each moment in innocence, guided by the wisdom of our hearts. And as we open our hands, open our eyes, shine our light into the world. Namaste. Thank you so much, everyone. Don't forget, we have a couple of big events coming up this week. There is on Thursday night, here, I'll zip over to that frame real fast. On Thursday night is our full moon celebration. This will be down at Westwood Park Thursday from 6:30 to 8:30, and there will be dances of universal peace. We will be building a flower mandala, and there will be chanting. And so we hope you can join us. If you're able to come, please don't forget to bring like maybe a mat or a blanket or maybe like a lawn chair and a few flowers to help us with our mandala. And of course, as always, thank you, Carrie. You do so much to bring such joy and sugar to our Sangha. We have delicious crumble cookies. Nobody else has them. Crumble cookies after the service downstairs, tea, coffee, and some fellowship. And also, many folks like to go to our post-service discussion group. We have a group that meets at 10:15. There's also one that meets after the second service. And it's an opportunity to create Sangha on a more intimate level. They come together and we talk about the message and how it applies to our life. So I hope that you can join us for the post-service discussion group. Also, there's a sign-up sheet on the counter right outside the meditation hall. Two of them, actually. One for our newsletter and also one for volunteering. So we have all kinds of opportunities for volunteering. So please get your email on that. Oh, don't forget to print legibly, please. And finally, we do have our 4-day silent meditation retreat coming up in honor or in celebration of Wesak, which is a celebration of the Buddha's birth, enlightenment, years of teaching, and his passing or transition to nirvana. So this meditation retreat, it's a silent retreat. You can join us as a residential, which means you stay at the retreat center with us. Those rooms are filling up very quickly. I think we have about 3 rooms left. But you can also join us as a commuter, so you come in the morning and go home at night, or you can join us virtually. And the theme for our 4-day retreat this year is the contemporary contemplative, exploring the new monasticism. So all that information is online, templebuddhistcenter.com. And finally, don't forget our store. Liz, our digital diva, has built for us a little store. Wow. And I know some folks, I've been seeing stickers showing up on water bottles and cars, bicycles, and even dogs. So I'm not sure how those got on there. So I will leave this up here for you guys, all the different things that are happening. Don't forget our lending library. So there's lots of new books that have been placed in there, so please go by. And if you have Dharma books at home, please bring those up. Yes, thank you very much, Beth. And I don't want to forget, very important, I don't even have it on there. We need to get it on there, Beth, sorry. The first Sunday of every month, so that will be next Sunday at 1 p.m., Beth is featuring an interplay class. Interplay is awesome. I have been a student of Beth's in this. Interplay is a fun way for adults to rediscover the joys, the freedom, the liberation of play. And it's done in a very safe, structured, loving environment. Beth does an excellent job. So next Sunday, come and enjoy everything. And then at 1 o'clock is the games and the interplay. And what room are we in? Okay, we'll be in Temple Space. So again, thank you all so much. And as you go into your day, I wish you peace, blessings, and wonderful parking spots.